What's going on, kids? This is Adam here in Comic Scene, and in this episode we're going to be talking about motherfucking Batman Year One. So yeah, a good buddy of mine gave me this book right here. This is The Complete Frank Miller. This is a 3-story book, leather-bound, kind of like a Bible. It's my Bible. It features Batman Year One, Wanted, Santa Claus, Dead or Alive, and The Dark Knight, both parts. So yeah, in this video we're going to be discussing, reviewing, / my thoughts on Batman Year One comic versus animated movie put out by Warner Brothers and DC Comics. So yeah, let's dive into this comic. Alright, so we're going to dive into Batman Year One. Was written by Frank Miller and illustrated by David Mazzucchelli and published by DC Comics in 1987. So Frank Miller, who is a director, novelist, and a screenwriter, also worked on Daredevil. He also wrote Batman Return of the Dark Knight. And if you haven't seen that, I'm going to do a video on that particular comic book / review discussion on the animated film as well. And I gotta say, DC Comics doing a superb job on their animated films. What I don't understand is, why can't they do the same? Why can't they bring the same oomph to the fucking movies? You know what I mean? Not saying that I don't like the movies, but some of them it just doesn't. Anyway, so yeah, the movie based on the comic premiered at Comic-Con on July 22nd and released October 18th, 2011. And it was the 12th film released in the DCEU animated movies. So that's a pretty fun fact. And fun little facts about the movie. Voices. Ben McKenzie did Batman, which is awesome. I don't know if you guys ever watched Gotham, but Ben McKenzie is Jim Gordon. So that's pretty fucking cool. And as I was digging more into it, Katie Sackhoff from Battlestar Galactica voiced, I think her name was Essie? The blonde chick in the film / comic. Jim Gordon's little love affair. Spoilers. But yeah, Battlestar Galactica, pretty fucking awesome. I don't know if you guys ever saw the reboot, but she played Starbuck. So anyway, one little fun fact, or my opinion, I guess, comic books in the fucking 80s were fucking brutal. Like, in Year One, there's a particular scene where, you know, Batman has already, or Bruce Wayne rather, had already got his gear and everything, and he's doing some detective work, and there's this particular, like, gangster / pimp. He fucking, like, climbs up the wall, you know, fucking scaling that shit like old school Bat style. And in the scene of the comic book, homeboy fucking pimp dudes fucking snort coke. So I just thought it's pretty brutal. Like, just comics in the 80s. Like, if you remember in The Killing Joke, I mean, that was graphic and pretty brutal. And then you got this, and Dark Knight Returns. I mean, Batman's beating the fuck out of these, like, mutant punks or whatever. But anyway, we're going to talk about that in another video. So yeah, if you haven't seen the animated film for this, you should, because like I said, it's to the T. Like, I watched it and had my book right next to me, following page by page, and it's pretty spot on. There's a few slight differences, like the scene with the coke that's not in the animated movie, but I think the dude was like drinking or whatever. So yeah, thumbs up for the animated film and the comic, of course. Frank Miller, I've read reviews, and some people don't like him. They think he's a hack and shit. I don't. I think he's fucking awesome. He's a good writer, and the illustrating, the drawings, pretty awesome. I mean, came out in the 80s, and it was pretty graphic. So I'm gonna dive into the comic a little bit, just because if I talk about the film, I mean, I'm going to be talking about the comic anyway, because they're just, I mean, it's identical almost. So, starts out, like I said, I'm not going to dive too deep into it, because this is like a little discussion / review. But, starts out, Bruce Wayne's been gone, I think it was like 12 years, and Jim Gordon's coming to Gotham with his pregnant wife, Barbara. And they're having their son, I think his name's like James Jr. or something. Not Barbara Gordon yet, not yet. So anyway, it starts out they're coming to Gotham, shows Wayne getting off the plane, and, you know, of course, paparazzi and the press are all there, you know, like asking him where has he been and all this stuff. And of course, as Batman fans know, or just comic book fans in general who love DC Comics, know that he's been off doing his training thing. And then cuts this Jim Gordon, and he's in a monologue just talking about how, you know, Gotham's no place to raise a family and whatnot, but he's got to do what he's got to do. And so it shows him getting there, and it shows his partner, Flask, I think it is, showing up, and he's like, you know, hey, Jimmy, you know, can I call you Jim, whatever. And so this is where he really starts to see how crooked the cops of Gotham are. And then on the Bruce Wayne side of things, he's just getting home, and he's realizing that Gotham is still just as corrupt as ever, if not worse. But yeah, this book and the animated film just kind of, year one, it's the first year that Batman comes back to don the cape and cowl. And there's a scene where Bruce Wayne dresses up like, I guess, like an old Vietnam vet. I mean, this is based in the 80s, so it's, you know, many years after the war of Vietnam, but he's got like a scar on his face, and he's wearing a like a military green jacket, you know, and he's in disguise, and he's just walking down, like, I guess, the red light district of Gotham, and he just sees all the pimps and crackheads, and he gets approached by this little prostitute. I mean, the fucking girl can't be like but like 15 or whatever, and turns out that is Selina Kyle's roommate. And we all know who Selina Kyle is. It's fucking Catwoman, but this is before she donned the claws. Anyway, little chick's like trying to proposition Wayne or whatever, and he, like, you know, tells her that she shouldn't be doing this or whatever, and the pimp pops up, and he starts a fight with Bruce. And of course, you know, Bruce, I think he says in his inner monologue, like, my time to see what I got or whatever. And he starts fighting and kicks the shit out of the guy, and the little prostitute chick stabs him in the leg, stabs Bruce in the leg. When that happens, he, like, pushes her, and she goes flying onto the pavement or whatever. And Selina Kyle is looking out the window. Before all this happened, she was like, you know, another guy about to get, you know, get beat down or whatever. But anyway, she sees him push her, so she jumps down out of the window, and she starts fucking brawling with Bruce. And I gotta say, the fight scene's pretty awesome in both animated film and the comic. Bruce gets the shit kicked out of him. I mean, he's a rookie. He's only been doing this for maybe, I don't know, 24 hours. So it goes to the, it shows a scene where he's getting back into his car, and the scene before all of this, on the Jim Gordon side of things, he just got jumped by other crooked cops because he's like, you know, he's like a Boy Scout, so of course he's like trying to do the right thing, and him doing that is fucking up their whole system, like getting paid off and all this shit. So he's beat down, and the guys that beat him up are like wearing like ski masks or whatever, and he recognizes one of the voices and is fucking Flask, his partner. And so it shows him getting in his car. He knows exactly where Flask is. He's at like some like card game or whatever with his buddies. So he tracks him down, and he's like following him. And it goes to a scene, like, I guess it's like simultaneously, like, Bruce Wayne is flying back to the mansion, swerving all over the road because he's losing blood and shit because he got stabbed. And as he passes by, he almost swerves and hits Jim. And Jim's like, I should pull over and, you know, follow that guy and arrest him, whatever, but he's on a mission. And so he finds out where Flask is, follows him, and he's, like, trailing behind him without his headlights on. And he speeds up, knocks Flask's car into a tree. And both scenes in comic book and the animated film, it's like mirror image. So Flash crashed into the tree. He gets out of the car, and Jim Gordon's, you know, Parks gets out of the car, and he's got the bat that they whooped his ass with, and he's looking at the guy saying, you know, it's been a long time since I took down a Green Beret, so he's like, I'm gonna give him a fighting chance, and he throws the fucking bat. This just goes to show you that in all variations of Jim Gordon, he's always been a badass, you know what I mean? Especially like in the Gotham show, it's a young Jim Gordon. He's just fucking kicking everybody's ass and shit. There's some flaws to that show, but anyway, we'll talk about that later. So anyway, he throws the bat to Flask, and Flask like catches it, and like it's also shown a scene, or in the same scene, showing that Jim Gordon has his gun, and he puts it back in his holster, and Flask comes at him, tries to hit him with the bat, and fucking Jim like deflects it and just starts wailing on his ass. And both in the comic and animated film, it shows after he whooped Flask ass, he left him tied up in the snow, butt ass naked, and he says, Flask, he won't tell nobody. He's got too much pride. So anyway, so a few months go by. Batman's finally doing this thing. He's being talked about in the news as, you know, this Bat character or whatever. And like, I like this suit because it's the old school black and gray. So yeah, he's being hunted down by the police department, and it goes to this one scene where Jim is briefing the other police officers, saying, you know, if you find him, you know, don't shoot to kill or whatever. We need to take him in and whatnot. And of course, those guys are probably going to shoot to kill because they're all crooked as fuck. It goes to this one scene to where Batman is like tracking down all like these crooked cops and stuff, and especially Commissioner Loeb. He's like the crooked like commissioner of the police department that allows all crooked shit to happen. So anyway, this scene shows Batman sneaking onto the property in like this big like mansion. I guess it's like a dinner party for all these like high-end people of Gotham. I'm not like telling you scene by scene. I'm just telling you like some of my favorite parts. And in this part, he like shoots a smoke grenade through the window. And as they're all talking about this Bat character and, you know, how it's giving the people hope, and when the people have hope, they're not worrying about like getting extra, like getting taxed and shit and all this crooked shit going on because they have something else distracting. So anyway, he shoots this grenade or smoke bomb, whatever, through the window. It explodes, and he cuts the power. And as the smoke's, you know, rising up, there's this one like souffle dish still on fire or whatever, because, you know, you got to put it out and whatnot. And he like busts through the window that's all broken and shit, and he tells like the aristocrats or whatever of Gotham that they have eaten well the wealth of Gotham. Now it's time for them not to eat, you know. And like the scene just shows like Batman coming through. It's all smoky and shit, both in comic and film. And then it shows him slowly putting out the flame, and then he's gone. So it's like his appearance showing like the wealthy of Gotham, like, hey motherfuckers, I'm here. You know what I mean? I know what the fuck you're doing. So that was a cool little scene. And then it goes to a few months go by. As this is happening both in film and comic, it's showing like the dates beginning from January and ending, of course, at December. The whole year of Batman coming to town and whatnot. And then there's this one scene where there's like this fire going on. I think it's a fire. Yeah, this fire is going on in this apartment building, I think. Anyway, and of course Batman's going to do his Batman thing and try to save people and whatnot. So anyway, as this is happening, he gets pinned down by the SWAT team, and they're not listening to Jim's. They're not listening to his orders. They're like, fuck this, goody goody, you know, we're gonna our shit. I think the main guy, I forget his name, but he's like Loeb's like #1 guy. You're my #1, a guy, like Jack said. Joker. Anyway, sorry. So Batman's pinned down, and he's trying to like flee the scene, but in the fire there was like an explosion, and he lost his utility belt, so he's only got I guess a few like tranquilizer darts, and there's a little another thing that he's got, but I'm not going to talk about that just yet. So anyway, he goes down to like the cellar area, and like the SWAT team, they got him pinned down. They open up the fucking little hatch that's down in like this cellar area, and they're like, he must be down there. So two of them go down there, and when they go down there, things shuts and locks, and of course Batman's on the outside, and he like knocked out one of the guards that stayed up and like took his walkie-talkie, and he's like talking to the guys like, you know, I like you better down there, whatnot. The guy's like, you know, radio in like he's in the basement. So more SWAT team dudes come, and there's like this giant like fight, and then like a firefight, and then all this shit happening. He's doing an inner monologue, and I thought this was cool. Not very many like animated movies do the inner monologues, but there's this one part of this film where he does his inner monologue where he's talking about what he's got. He says he's got one smoke bomb, I think it was like 2 tranq darts or 3, and then he has a test, like a device that he hadn't tested yet, and what it is a sound frequency thing that attracts, of course, bats from his bat cave. And in watching this and reading this comic, I've realized that, you know, all these Batman movies take certain things from the comics and combine them into their movies, the live action films. And on The Dark Knight Begins, or Batman Begins rather, they did the same shit where the bats came and like he fled through the cover of all the bats. Does the same shit, and I guarantee this is where they got that from. So anyway, the bats show up, and he uses this as a way to escape. And as the bats are flying and everything, he gets on a bike and fucking flees the scene. So yeah, I thought that was a cool little homage to this comic. But yeah, if you haven't read this comic, you should. If you haven't seen the animated movie and you're a Batman fan, shame on you. Both great things. Oh, back to the scene that I was talking about where Batman was like taking down that pimp dude or whatever who was doing coke in the comic. In both the animated movie and the comic book, the guy tries to scream, and Batman's saying shit like, you know, you can't hurt me, nothing can hurt me. And like it shows where like dude's trying to grab his gun, he's like, bullets can't hurt me. And then he starts looking at the guy's looking all freaked out, you know, and he's like, but pain, I know pain, and sometimes I like to share it with others. And then it just, a black scene in both film and comic is fucking awesome. Just shows the brutality of Bruce when he first came back to Gotham from his training. So yeah, a bunch more stuff happens. Essie, or Essen, I think is her name. So the whole thing with Jim Gordon, like, he's with his wife, she's pregnant, he's surrounded by crooked cops, and he starts getting involved with this other woman, I guess is like his partner or whatever, in his division. Commissioner Loeb uses this against him. He didn't really have like an affair, but pictures were taken of him and her kissing. So he had to break it off with her, and because he was doing, you know, trying to bring Loeb in, and like find dirt on Loeb, they start using these pictures against him, and it comes out that like his wife Barbara, she finds out, but she doesn't leave him. But you know, it just kind of shows that Jim's human too, you know, and he's been staying up late and all this stuff, and he's not getting any sleep because of Loeb, and just to show you how fucked up Loeb is, there's towards the end of the book and film, Loeb sends somebody to his apartment to get his newborn, because in this year, Barbara had, I think it's like Jim Jr. or whatever, little James. Guy steals the baby. So there's like this car chase, and it ends up on a bridge. And I guess this bridge isn't that high up, because in the film and the comic, when the fight's going on, the guy who was sent to steal little James, I think it's little James, anyway, throws the kid off the bridge. And as this happens, Jim pushes the dude off the bridge, dives to go get the kid, and all of a sudden this guy is falling ahead of both of them. Turns out it's fucking Bruce Wayne. And what's cool in both comic and film is that at this scene, Jim doesn't have his glasses on. Now, I don't know how bad his vision is or whatever in all reality. Bruce hands him the kid, and Jim Gordon's like, you know, I don't have my glasses on. I don't really see well without my glasses on. And I think in the animated movie there's like a little wink or whatever. So he knows, you know what I mean? So anyway, towards the end of the book, Loeb got arrested for, I think, racketeering or whatever, because of an internal affairs, you know, got the dirt they needed. So he's in jail. Jim Gordon, who was just a detective, got promoted to lieutenant, so he's still not commissioner yet. And he's grown a relationship with this Batman. At the end, the very end page, it says, or it's Jim Gordon talking to himself, inner monologue. He's saying Barbara's not so happy about the marriage counselor. Loeb's in jail, but he's got more things on his mind right now because somebody's threatening to poison the Gotham City water reservoir. Calls himself the Joker, but that's okay. I have a friend on the case. So that just kind of shows that in this year, Batman and Jim Gordon have grown, like, their relationship. You know, in all the mediums of Batman, like, there's always that friendship between Jim and Batman. You know, like I said, in the scene where he says he can't really see well without his glasses, you know, you don't know if Jim finds out who Batman is, but he knew that it was the guy, Batman, who saved his kid. But anyway, yeah, awesome comic, awesome animated film. I'm going to be doing a review on The Dark Knight Returns, discussion, thoughts, review on the comic versus animated movie. And like I said, DC Comics, their animated films, fucking muy delicioso. You know, it's delicious, it's good. So yeah, if If you enjoyed this video, hit that little subscribe button and leave some comments. We'll dive into some more comic books. Thanks, guys.